Come.
That's good.
Greetings and welcome to another segment of Let's Talk and Grow with Ms Roshumba, also known as Nana Ajua Sika Cody I. A new introduction to my name that I've been given here in Ghana.
Wow.
Yes, I am in Ghana again talking to you, and I know you see my guest sitting there, riveted in her beautiful outfit. And I'm going to go and speak to her in a moment. But as you know, I have a ritual, a routine to help you, a flow, a consistency with this show. So first, I give honor to our Creator that gives us the opportunity each and every day that we have life to do our part, to empower not just ourselves, our children, our family, the community, the race, the nation, and eventually, effectively, the world. Secondly, as we know, my inspiration has been from this gentleman, Early Laverne. I met him in 2011, and he passed away 2 years later in 2013. But in that 22 years of knowing him, my life was changed. He is a poet, and his poetry he willed to me on his deathbed, because I too am a poet. And as you know, I will be sharing one of his poems in the beginning and one of mine at the end. And with that, I'm going to go right into his poem. And his poem today is called My Loving People, Hear Me. My loving people, hear me. There's something of significance that you need to see. The powers that be are cleverly planning to rob you of your liberty. Those criminals in government are missioned to destroy your innocence. Their means are not a fair play. They think their corrupted systems are here to stay. Our enemies have produced our destruction along the way. Ponder all that which I have to say. We are artfully built to rise. We have a supreme God on our side. We are the true motivators of the spiritual pride. Great things of worth we cannot deny. We hold the updates in genuine style. We refuse to ever again be deprived. Our black songs reveal that we shall overcome. Fact is, we are the chosen one. Our grand production of strength is of the fuel of spirituality. Try your hardest not to avoid this true reality. My loving people, hear me. With things of great significance, we must agree. We must leave political darkness, moving into the light. For we are sure winners in any fight. Asheo, sister. This was Early Laverne.
Peace and love to each and everyone out there who is listening to this video right now, yeah? This poetry is from the heart. You can see that the man who wrote this poetry
He understood, didn't he?
Yeah, he understands what he's writing.
Yes.
He knows what he's writing.
Yes.
What he feels inside is what he's writing.
Yes.
You get me?
So
everybody have their story.
Right.
And I have my story.
You have your story. So she's saying everyone has their story. And she too have her story. And we're going to hear from her story in 1 second. But I'm going to start off with her telling you her name. Do your best today, because we got a queen warrior right here. So sister, tell me your name.
My name is Na Ayoko Mawasa Mpese Asafwania 1, meaning I am an installed warrior queen.
Installed?
Here, warrior queen here in Ghana. Before I even came to Ghana, I was a warrior where I came from.
Where you came from. So tell me where you were born.
I was born, I rise up
Rise
I
up.
rise up in the UK.
England, UK.
The day I was born. Let me go back to even before I was born. 500 years, nearly 500 years ago, they took me out of here. Minding my own business, I found with my people then, my family. Then I was stolen, kidnapped, then sold from out of Ghana. Huh? And in the ship, I feel I was on that ship.
So
I was there. I was on that ship. Huh? The time that them want come and do them buggery and them have we tie up, you know, underneath pan deck, you know. Yeah? The time we were under deck. What I remember, sir, I was under deck.
So my sister, what you're telling me is beginning this experience.
Yes.
But you remember
Yes,
500 years ago being on that ship.
I remember
Can you believe
being
that?
on that ship 500, nearly 500 years ago. When them cut me, they come bugger me and do all kind of things to me, I am the one who jumped into that sea.
Oh, pause it there for me a minute.
I am the one that jumped into the sea.
I want you to hear just let that sink in for a minute.
When
Because when we talk about generationally, you know, some will say slavery is something that happened back then. Some would say get over it.
Get over it.
Some, just elaborate.
Yes.
Some would say get over it. Get over this talk about slavery. We're in the new world, it's the 21st century. Just move forward. But this sister is not just telling her story from the day she was born in this era. Her spirit remembers when she was enslaved and captive on the ship and the effects of it. So we're going to go deeply in there now and delve in. And so what, when you were born, that showed you that experience had occurred? What is in your life, would you say, that reminds you that you
When my mother
Yeah.
was in labor and she brought forth the day I came out of my mother's womb, a feeling ran down my spine that the place where I am, it is not my place. That feeling ran down my back, my spine. Let me go back to the 500 years, yeah? When I jumped into that sea, yeah? And I took my final look, then I was whisked away. In the sea, there was a God, the sea God. Here in Ghana, them deal with sea God, you know. You get me?
Yes.
In that sea, there was a God who swept us away. For 400 years, nearly 500 years, I was dormant. I was dormant when we got swept away. That means we were sleeping for the 400 years. Before the slavery, I was not a sinner. I never sinned. I did good on earth. You get me? That's why I couldn't die. When you do good on earth, your flesh can go, but your spirit will live on forever. You get me? So I was the one who was dormant for more than nearly 500 years. Then the Most High God said, in the latter years, these spirits who were swept away, who was taken away, have to rise again in this Iwaya. In this time, we got to rise again. You get me? Why we have to rise again? Because the works, what we left then, we have to make sure we continue it today and finalize everything today. While I is back here again. That's why I'm here again today. From me born From the born, I am the born again one. When I was a child growing up, when I born out of my mother womb, when we come out of my mother womb, I couldn't even look. I couldn't even talk. As you know, a baby can't talk. But I was looking. I mean, I looked about everywhere. Lord, oh gosh, where am I again? As a baby, I'm watching everywhere and asking, where am I again?
Let me ask you a question in that. Because you're a baby, is this what your mother told you that you were like?
This is not
or is something internally you remember from thinking back?
This is what I know. My mother and I know my life before it was born.
Yeah. I'm just curious if your mother told you as you were growing some of the things that you were doing. It's one thing to feel it inside out. But what's the observation from others looking at you?
Let me tell you how my life was.
Okay.
As a youth, as a baby, let me continue. As a baby, when I was born, I was watching everywhere. I was watching. Because, let me tell you why I ain't going to remember. Before my mother and my father conceived me, the Most High God said,
Yes.
I and I spirit have to come back again.
Right.
That means we were talked of before my mother and father even start to meet. We were talked, our spirits was talked of. This is why I can remember everything.
Okay.
You get me?
Right.
When I'm the baby watching now, 6 good months, 7 good months.
In your mother's womb.
When I'm born now.
When you have been born, okay.
When I'm born now, I'm watching everywhere. When I could even talk, I must have been nearly 1.5 when I could talk. The first words what I could form together and put together, I asked my mother, where am I? I asked my mother, who am I? You get me? Because as I said, when I come out of the womb there, I knew when I entered into this world that the place where I was born was not my place. I knew it. That feeling was in me, that feeling from before, that feeling again when I was born. It was the one feeling. You get me? So I'm asking my mother, who am I? Where am I? It's like I just woke up from a coma. It's like you wake up from a coma and you got asked, when me there?
Yeah. It's like some of these movies that they have, would transport you from one life to another.
Yes.
But this is a real thing.
This is a real thing.
So let me ask you this. Did your mother say that you asked that question? And were you less than a year when you asked, where am I?
I was about a year. As soon as I could talk, as soon as I could put words together.
Right.
Because before I could talk, I'm watching everywhere. Where the backside me there? Where me there? Okay. So as a baby, you can't talk, but you just watch everywhere.
You're learning everything.
So when I could talk, that is the question I asked my mother, who am I?
Yes.
I asked my mother, who give me the nose and call it the nose? Who give me yai and call it the yai? Who do that?
So I just want you all to understand, she was born in the UK to Jamaican parents.
To Jamaican parents.
And so as she's speaking, you will know that we have their own twang in Jamaica. It's called patois. So have you been to Jamaica at all?
I've never stepped foot on Jamaica soil yet.
And she's a Jamaican born to
never
Jamaican
stepped foot on Jamaica soil yet.
Look at
because my mother always tell me, say, you is not Jamaican, you is African. We is not Jamaicans, we are Africans. But before I get to that story, let me tell you my childhood was.
Okay.
Growing up now in the West, I see a white man face. I used to scream. Anytime I see a white man's face, I used to cry. I used to
You were
scream.
frightened. And you were
Yes.
born in a white man's country,
Yes.
so you cried a lot.
I cried, I cried, I cried, I cried. So till the neighbors, which were white people, thought that my mother was battering me. They called the police on my mother, said that I am being battered in the house. My mother is beating me because they can hear me crying. When the police come at the door and my mother had me in her arms, as I see the white man's face, I scream, I scream, I scream, I scream. I screamed when I seen the white man's face. Huh? Huh? You know the
Wow.
feeling, what was in me them time there. Let me tell you the feeling, what was in me them time there. Me go down, I fight these people, yeah. Me rise up again if you come see these people, yeah, in my face. You get
You
me?
were born in their land. So that is being born in their land said that she came back not just to be a victim. As you know her name. She already said her name. She didn't come back to be a victim. She came back to handle that situation. You were chosen to come back again.
I had to come back and deal with the same people there who I went down for. So now,
ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'm going to pause it right there. And we're going to go to part 2 in a moment.